Why don't we go ahead and we shall convene our 5,640th meeting. Meeting convened. Traditionally, we would have some very intellectual professional here taking us down in the most profound thoughts of the world, how to save the world. But because that's kind of depressing at times, we've changed our ways. And I would love to invite Adriana up here to help us think about the world in a more mellow way. And that is through her musical selection. Adriana, appreciate you. Both of you. Okay, where are you going? I appreciate you guys stepping up to this. Thank you very much. And you all be quiet and listen, please. And Tamra, Ed, Christy, I don't know where you're at, but I think we have to adjust our meeting agenda. It makes us a staple because it's been really wonderful, and appreciate you doing that. Maybe we get free lunch out of this. Thank you very much. Sherry, you want to join me real quick? Because in my role, you need a partner in crime. And my partner in crime in terms of introductions today is Shayla. Here you go.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Shayda Calderwood. I will be announcing our speakers today. So we're very excited to be here. Thank you for Ron and Randy to join us. So a little bit about them. Ron Romero is a board of directors chairman and founder of the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, and the owner of Stage Right Productions, a live event production company that provides sound and lighting for concerts and corporate events. Ron is an entrepreneur and has owned a computer technology and internet provider company and is a real estate investor. Ron sits on the Joliet Junior College Music Technology Board Committee as an advisor. He is also a member of the Joliet City Center Partnership, the Illinois Association of Museums and American Alliance of Museums, and continue to perform as a musician. Welcome. And Randy King. So Randy serves on the major donor and media committees for the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66, and spends his career in TV as a producer and executive at the NBC Universal, PBS, and Fox in LA and Chicago. He is a music lover and has played in bands since his high school days and still plays out regularly today. He has served as executive producer and producer for a broad range of high-profile events, including Super Bowl, which is very cool, World Series, All-Star Games, award shows, news magazine series, and documentary series and music programming, including the PBS concert series, Soundstage and Legends of Jazz. So I would like to welcome Ron and Randy to today's meeting. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Seda, for that great introduction, and thank you to Rotary One Chicago for having us here today. My name is Randy King, and this is where it all started with this guy here, so I'm going to turn the mic over to him. But I wanted to thank Timo for having us, and Harv for the introduction. I was talking to Harv a little bit about this project, and he said, you know what, if you're going to start someplace on a drive like this, the best place to start is Chicago One. And we're honored to be here and to have this chance to speak to you today. Bob Surratt and John Lendecker were supposed to, I keep watching the door in case they come through, but obviously WGN must be having a mandatory staff meeting and they're stuck eating crackers and cheese or something like that. They send their regrets. But we've got a lot to talk to you about where we are with the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum. And we're just kicking off today a campaign called Open the Doors to Inspiration. You're going to hear that word a lot, inspiration. I met Ron 5 years ago, music connected sort of thing, at Peace Pizza, which is Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick's pizza place. And he said, hey, I've got this idea. There's something I've been working on. And I had a background and a couple mutual friends with him that had done some music programming before. And I said, yeah, I'd be interested in helping out with that. So then COVID happened, and things kind of got rearranged like that. But I retired from NBC Universal last year and gave Ron a call and said, you know, where are things at right now? Went down there and saw what was going on, and I was so excited when I walked in. And if you have a chance to get down there, let Ron know or let me know. We'll give you the full tour down there. It's an amazing transformation that's happening in this building. And it's going to be doing great things in the future. But with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ron Romero, the founder and the inspiration behind all of this. Thanks.
Thank you, Randy. Good afternoon, and thank you for having us here today. We're very excited to be here to tell you a little bit about our project. Kind of the inception of this was in 2013. It was an idea. I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. I had been to to Nashville, and there's all sorts of music museums there. And then lastly, one of the events I went to was an exhibit that was in Rockford, Illinois. That was a Cheap Trick exhibit put on by the guitar player from Cheap Trick. And when I was there, I noticed there was a bus of people that had flown in from O'Hare, took the bus from O'Hare to Rockford from Japan. And I thought to myself, people are coming that far to see this one great band. And I know we have more than just Cheap Trick here in Illinois. So after doing a little studies, we found out there were great bands like Cheap Trick and Styx and Buddy Guy and Muddy Waters, and the list is endless. It's endless. So I went to a local museum and said, I've got this idea possibly for an exhibit. The president there said, this is beyond an exhibit. This has got to be its own entity. You need to file for your 501, become a nonprofit organization, look for a building to make this happen. And she helped us to put together the very first board of directors. And that was in 2016. And in 2019, we bought our building. We bought a building downtown Joliet. We've been working on that endlessly to renovate that building and to help with the economic development downtown Joliet as well. Why did we pick Joliet? There's a lot of reasons. It fluctuates between the third and fourth largest city in the state of Illinois. It's located near Route 80, Route 55. It's located on Route 6 on Lincoln Highway. There's a brand new train station. There's a lot happening there. We happen to be located right on the corner of the Lincoln Highway and Route 66. So we embraced that with our vision and became the Rock and Roll Museum on Route 66. Though the name says rock and roll, we embrace all music from Illinois. We had a choice of saying it could have been the Illinois Music Museum, but rock and roll to me just had that certain sizzle that we liked, so we used that name. But we actually honor, preserve, and celebrate music from Illinois that's blues, gospel, rock, country, you name it, any type of music. And that's what I wanted to provide our people that would come, our tourists that would come in and visit. We'd like to educate them on what music from Illinois is all about. Let me give you a couple examples. When we looked at taking it to the other museum, we wrote a thesis that we were going to try to set out to prove, which was how Illinois music influenced the rest of the world. Let me give you an example. That would be the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones got their very name from a Willie Dixon song, or from a Muddy Waters song, and that's called Rolling Stone. They also took if you remember the Rolling Stones, they have a song called I Can't Get No Satisfaction, taken from a Muddy Waters song called I Can't Be Satisfied. So that was kind of the start of that. Willie Dixon wrote many songs that later became Led Zeppelin's first album. So there's a lot of influences from Illinois in all sorts of music, and that's what we wanted to embrace. We wanted to be able to share with the world and be able to show artifacts from different artists as well. So that's what we've been building since 2019. We also have an education center downstairs. That's the other part of our mission. Another part of our mission, I should say, is to educate students that come to us, to help them get to the next level in their music education. Junior high level and up. We can teach them not only instruments, but things like sound and lighting. We could teach them music business, or songwriting, all sorts of different things. Not everybody's built to be a rock star, but there's a lot of room in the music industry for people, and that's what we wanted to show. So we work with a couple of the local schools, starting at District 86, which is the local junior high, where students will come from them for us to be able to teach music programming to them. And then moving up to Joliet Junior College and University of St. Francis in Joliet, where students, if they choose to continue their education in music, can go to either one of the schools. During their classes with us, on the last day of their class, they'll be able to meet with professors from both colleges, where they can learn a little bit about furthering their education and going for a degree or a certificate in music or some type of music programming. So that's kind of where we started with that. It's been quite a journey. I had mentioned we're in Joliet. The other part of our mission for that was economic development. Joliet, if I know there's at least one person in this room, because I did get to meet him, that's from Joliet, that talked about what Joliet used to be. It was a great place where all the big stores, Sears and Ward's and Goldblatt's and all the great stores were down there. The Christmas parades were filled with people and just celebrated downtown. And for a while, Joliet wasn't that. It became something different. But now there's a big effort between the Center for Economic Development, the City Center Partnership, and many other people involved to help bring that spirit back to Joliet. And I got to tell you, just recently they had their Christmas parade there. We got to drive our Bluesmobile through the, yeah, how about that? Come by sometime. We'll give you a ride in the Bluesmobile. You'll have to wear the fedora hat and sunglasses, but you could see that spirit starting to come back to downtown Joliet. There's plenty of new restaurants down there. There's new stores. There's museums, a beautiful theater. If you're familiar with the Chicago Theater, the sister theater is in Joliet, which is Rialto, built by the same people, designed by the same people, very ornate, very beautiful. We have that there, and there's been so many artists that have played on that stage. So that's the reason we took to Joliet and what we're doing in Joliet now. Randy, who's next? We've got more to speak to you here. We got more the story to tell you.
Hey, Ron, thank you so much for
Thank you.
that. That's very special. I appreciate you guys being here. Ren, you're next.
Yes.
I was going to say, before the questions come up, I'll pay you $100 to drive the Bluesmobile through the Christkindl Market. I think I know some kind of people there. I think it'll be a great advertisement for you guys. Let's talk about that next. Randy, you're up.
It might cost just a little bit more than $100, but we'll do it. Good afternoon. I'm Bob Dietrich. I'm a board member of the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum. I'm the only guy on the board that has no musical talent other than listening to music, but I understand finances, and I'm a banker by day. I've been a banker in Will County for over 40 years, so I'm excited about the economic impact that the museum is bringing and will continue to bring to the market. So, Ron, just to tag on to what Ron said, Joliet's the county seat of Will County. Just to give you some tidbits about Will County, it's gone through a huge transformation in the last 3 or 4 decades. Tom will remember this. In the early 80s, Joliet specifically had the highest unemployment rate in the country of any large city, at 25.2%. So compare that to about 3 today. So the business leaders in Will County got together, like a group like this, and 40 years ago created the Will County Center for Economic Development to be able to attract employers and retain employers. Could you advance the slide twice, please? One more slide, please. Thank you. And what this CED has done has been pretty phenomenal. Will County is now 700,000 people. It's 800 square miles. Household income's about 100K. There's 16,000 businesses. 80% of the people own their own home. It's a thriving community. The CED, through the vision of the guys 40 years ago, has brought literally thousands of jobs to the market on an annual basis. It's the transportation hub of the Midwest, and which is all good stuff. But you know, the economy's booming there. It's doing well. But we need more cultural things. And that's where I think where the Rock and Roll Museum can really help add value to the economy. It's as the name suggests, and as Ron said, it's located along Route 66. That's a huge destination spot for a lot of people in the U.S. and then other venues that are along that corridor. There's people that come from Asia, from Europe, and what do they do? They just don't pop into a place. They spend days there in the market and stay in hotels and eat in fancy restaurants and do great things. The area that the museum is in downtown Joliet. It's going through a nice renaissance. There's fabulous places to eat there. The city's creating a nice plaza for outdoor entertainment, outdoor events. That's a $4 million project. Route 66 will celebrate its 100th anniversary in 4 years in 1926. That's going to draw lots of people to the museum, lots of people to the market. The Rialto Theater that Ron mentioned also will have its 100th anniversary in 1926. So a nice coincidence there. My bank is very proud to be able to support the Rock and Roll Museum. We just gave a pretty nice check Thank you. To help finish out the music program that Ron talked about. I'm involved in some local schools in the market, and once I heard what Ron's doing there, we wanted to contribute. So, and we're not alone. So we've already raised over $1.2 million of support because the business leaders in the market already know what it's going to do for the economy. So appreciate your time today, and I'm going to turn it back to Randy, it looks like. Thank you.
He's not just a banker, he's the president of the Will County group there and has been involved in the community for a long time. So Bob has been a huge addition to the board and some fiscal acumen and some muscle with us now. So we're super happy to have him here. Just a couple other things on this slide here. Partnerships, Ron talked about it a little bit. We've gone a long way with Ron and Jim Murphy, who's back over here, and a lot of the other board members, getting partnerships with the community. The community sees the value of this. There's economic data up at the top of the makeup of the community. The educational part that we've talked about has a scholarship and a mentorship component to it. So if you look with the partners that we've got already and how we've gotten to the point that we've gotten to at this point, it's pretty remarkable what the community has done. But as Bob had said, we've raised about $1.2 million so far. We're at that open the doors to inspiration part. So if I had on there $1 million that we've raised, but see, Bob's bank has kind of helped out on that. So now we're about $1.2 million away from getting everything we need to open the doors. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but enough of that part. Let's get to the fun part with people that actually are celebrities in our midst. So Lisa Field and Kara Karavu are here from WBBM and WLS, special guests. They're ambassadors. They're ambassadors for the museum and help out. They've also been presenters at the Hall of Fame. They just want to talk to you a little bit about the community events and what it means to them and how they got involved. And these are people that have been around this industry for a long time and music fans.
Thanks, Randy. Hi, everybody. It's Giving Tuesday. Is everyone feeling giving today? Hope so. I would use the word celebrity a little loosely here, but I'm a journalist, but I think in my next life, I'll be somewhere in the music and entertainment industry as well, because it's something so close to my heart as well. And I can share my journey. I've been an ambassador for the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum for 3 years. And I have a similar story as Ron, because I used to live and work in Rockford, Illinois. And I was with Rick Nielsen with Cheap Trick when he first launched his Burpee Museum, Rick's Picks. It was one of the most beautiful exhibits I'd ever seen. It was curated so beautifully. And I thought the same thing Ron did. I thought, this is great for Rick because he calls himself a hoarder and he has every guitar pick he's ever owned, every travel ticket he's ever had. And I thought, well, we have so many musicians in Illinois. There's this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. Why don't we have something in Illinois? This kind of went through my head, but this was back in 2012, 2013. And I received a photo book. I think it's from Jim Samaria, right? He's a rock and roll photographer. And just in the sleeve, it had a press release about this dream of the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum. I said, what? This is something I was thinking about many years ago. And it just so happens. And I think Jim wanted me to do a story on him, but I ended up calling Ron and saying, this is a cool story. So Ron and I kind of connected that way. We talked about his vision and his dream. And I did a story like I always do every day on WBBM. And most stories we kind of do and kind of move on and maybe check back later on. But something connected with me and I really wanted to be involved beyond just the messenger of what's happening here. So we kind of did some brainstorming and I came down to visit the museum. Every time I go down there, there's something new, which I know is the goal. But I guess I can talk about the cool factor of it all for sure. And Ron also talked about the music education part, and that's something that's close to my heart. I support a lot of organizations that support young people and music because I think we all know music it changes lives. It really does. The arts and culture is often sometimes the first thing you cut in a school budget. And a lot of kids don't get the opportunity that they should to really love and, it changes your life if you like music and want to be in the industry or even just a music lover. And I think the fact that we give this opportunity to kids and young adults to not only be music lovers, but also songwriters and technicians, sound audio, sound engineers. There's a lot of potential vocations, not only in the music industry, but in broadcast in general, which also feeds over into what I do as well. And I think that's a key component of all this, giving kids the opportunity to love and create and really love music for the rest of their lives as well. I really do believe that the Illinois Rock and Roll Museum, it preserves and celebrates the past, but I think it's also a springboard and a portal for the future. Not only future musicians, future music lovers, but to save and preserve the things that we all grew up with and love for generations to come. So I encourage everyone to come down and visit and consider giving, because it's a great cause. And music changes lives, music unites all of us. And it's a time in our lives that we need to be united, right? So that's how I feel about it. And I've really been a proud ambassador for 3 years. Thank you. And I'll introduce, Kara Caribou is really a female pioneer in Chicago radio. She's one of the very few beginning music DJs, rock chicks, that's been almost at every station in Chicago and has rubbed elbows with some of the best. And she knows everything about music and musicians, and she's a perfect ambassador for the Rock and Roll Museum as well. Here's Kara.
And thank you. So currently I work at 94.7 WLS FM. If you guys listen to Dave and Kim in the morning, you're hearing me this week because she's got laryngitis. Hard to do radio when you have no voice. Before that, though, I was at She 100.3. I was at The Mix 101.9. I think most people know me from either Rock 103.5 in the 90s or The Loop. I did middays at The Loop for in the 2000s, early 2000s, I guess. Anyway, and I was even a program director in the suburbs. But the reason I got into radio, when I was a kid, every time I was in the back seat when my parents were driving on road trips, they argued incessantly in the front seat. Turn here, no, turn there. So I just tune them out and listen to the radio. And I was not only listening to the music, but of course I love the music. I was also listening to the DJs. That's really what triggered my love for radio. And then I had a great teacher in high school, Mr. Albury, who I credit my whole career to. He went out of his way to make sure I knew what I was doing, and he saw something in me. And I hope that people coming to the Rock and Roll Museum get that little spark in them too, because it means everything. And also when I was in high school, one of my all-time favorite bands was Styx at the time. So I mean, a lot of bands, but I remember having Styx on my turntable, because yes, I'm that old. Constantly. So fast forward to this year, I had the extreme honor of inducting Dennis DeYoung from Styx as a songwriter. But what was really, and I forgot about it until I pulled up to the Rialto Theater. I'm like, oh my God, that's the Paradise Theater album cover. Because Styx used to practice at that theater all the time. Paradise Theater was actually about Joliet, so I thought that was pretty cool. I'm so excited that this place even exists. Not to mention I'm glad to be involved with it too, but I can't think of a better thing. In fact, at that induction ceremony, what caught my attention too was the audience. They were so passionate about the music and the hall and everything. It was just fantastic to see. So there's definitely, and it was crowded too. You think Joliet, who's going to drive to Joliet? A lot of people were in Joliet for that, that's for sure. And it's not that bad of a drive, especially if you got a good radio station on. So, but thank you for having me be here, and the food's delicious too, but thank you.
Kara mentioned the Hall of Fame ceremony, and that's the biggest event of each year. And I was part of the very inaugural one, and there's, a lot of stresses getting everyone together and all the rock stars to commit. But our first year really turned to be a magical night. We had Kevin Cronin, we had Jim Peterick, and we had this young band that got to play with Kevin Cronin because REO had some sick people with COVID. And so we had this amazing opportunity, and it really symbolized what you're trying to do, Ron, is what happened that first year. And I can just say it was magical because we had a lot of radio DJs, people that have been in this market for decades. Lynn Bremer, we had Terry Hemmert from WXRT, Dave Fogel, Kara from WLS, myself, Joe Soda from B103. I try to tap into the radio industry because it's a natural partnership between the Rock and Roll Museum and the radio industry as a whole. Our second year was just as magical, and we hope to continue it each year. It's one of the best events of the year, so I hope that you guys will consider coming next year because it's so much fun, and it's something that you feel for weeks on end after it happens. So thanks for having us, and I hope everyone comes down and visits and gets the feeling that we do when we see them. Thank you.
No, that's my job, not your job. That's my job.
Ringing the bell. No, see, that's why we saved them for last, because it's, a bunch of dry guys. And I was supposed to tell a German joke, but I haven't yet. But I've got a video for you I want to close with.
Okay.
We were talking about inspiration. Kara talked about her inspiration that got her into her. I was the same thing. I was 13 years old when I got the TV bug, and have been able to do some amazing things over the years and had some great experiences, which I owe to people when I was younger that inspired me to get involved in that. That's exactly what Ron has set up with all of this. That's why it's so intentional to have these educational partnerships. If we could advance to the next slide. Oh, there we got it right there. Oh, there's a comment up there. We want to open the doors to inspiration. You heard people talk about all the inspirations that they had growing up. The spontaneous thing that happens when a group of high school kids gets to play with Kevin Cronin from REO. All of those sorts of things. We've got an educational program with Mark Arturi. That's him over here in the drum circles here. We've got the space for it downstairs. We need to get the building open. We need the occupancy permit from the city. And there's some major obstacles to that. So this is why we're here today. This is what we're kicking off today with our visit to Rotary 1. HVAC system, building fire and safety system, facade repair, city services, those sorts of things. It's all the non-sexy, nuts and bolts sort of thing that you need from an infrastructure standpoint to make this work. But that's kind of where we're at right now. It's a tremendous history, not only in the city of Chicago at the roots of rock and roll and so many other music genres, but across the state of Illinois, and it's long overdue. So I'm going to leave you with a video, and then we can go to the Q&A part here. So if we've got the video, we can go ahead and play that.
Get your kicks on Route 66.
I'm a man.
Yeah! G-L-O-R-I-A. Oh, yeah. G-L-O-R-I-A. Oh. Hey, baby, they're playing our song. The one day I trust in the night. One more time. 25 or 624. You're gonna make your fortune back. I'll take you there. Oh, come sail away, come sail away, come sail away with me. Well, it's all right, that is all right. They just seem a little away. Miss my loving. You're gonna miss my love. I'll be here for you. I think I love you. But even if you think just right this wrong tonight, something alive. Dances, we're falling apart to have time. Dance. Everybody run back to your fantasy now. Go. I got angels all around me, they give you surrounded. You ask for that hours of love.
Well, Ron, that was great. And while you guys were seated comfortably, you were quite mistaken, because now you're in the hot seat.
Yes.
You're in the hot seat, and the reason that I'm back here is because I'm gonna work the room from this side to that side. And I will give you a fair warning. The seat is very hot, because these people are smarter than me, and they ask questions. So with that, I'm gonna go to this table, Marshall and your crew. You guys have questions. You guys are next. I'm going to go that way. So get ready. Otherwise, I'll ask the questions. They'll be pretty tough. So questions here.
Pressure.
So what struck me in your presentation is how many acts are from Illinois that you don't really associate with Illinois. And what's your strategy for getting that word out? I mean, getting people to realize just how important Illinois is to rock and roll in general.
Oh, we try to reach out to them through social media. We've got mailing lists. We do all sorts of advertisement to let people know. For me, I thought I knew a lot about Illinois music when we started this, but part of the fun of this is I get to learn about Illinois music. For instance, one of the Everly brothers, born in Illinois. I didn't know that. I heard a few people mention names as they were coming up. Oh, I didn't know they were from Illinois. I heard somebody say Dan Fogelberg, who was inducted in our Hall of Fame last year. Dan Fogelberg, in fact, had the most nominations from around the world. And then the people who get to induct them are over 700 charter members from 33 states and 3 countries. So he had a really good turnout for that as well.
It really is foundational, Illinois and Chicago, to music, American music in general. If you look, even electrified guitars started on Maxwell Street because they had to play over the noise that was going on Maxwell Street like that. So back in the Muddy Waters day and, the B.B. Kings, it started playing electrified instruments when the Rolling Stones came to Chess Records because they'd heard so much about all of this. They started seeing what was going on. It was really foundational to American music. And, you saw Ramsey Lewis in there with jazz. I did a show with him on PBS called The Legends of Jazz. That was an inspiring idea that Ramsey had his whole career. And when I was at PBS, he came in and said, hey, do you think we can do this? And we put it together, and that stands forever like that. So there is so much house music. I don't know if any house music fans here, but that started in Chicago. Hip hop, there's so many different influences here in the state of Illinois that, like I said, it's long overdue. There's great stories to be told. There's a lot of online content. We've got great historians that research all of this, and we've got online videos and sit-down interviews. We're memorializing in conversations through video, doing interviews with people before they're gone. So we're curating all of this, and we've got everything ready to go. Now we just need to get the doors open because it's an inspiring story.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. Breaking with tradition, we're going to jump right to a Zoom question here. Who is from, this question from Jeanette Kravitz. I don't think she's related to Lenny Kravitz, but doesn't matter.
Could be.
The question is, what is your hopeful date for an official opening?
January 1st, 2021. No. Yeah, it would have been nice to have been open because we had, the vision of this was it's pretty easy. All we need to do is find a building and start pulling all the artifacts together. Then we started to deal with a lot of other issues, building, things like that. So we don't have a selected or projected opening date. We're looking at probably 2023. But in one of those slides, you saw the long list of things that we need to complete before we do that. That's all dependent on funding right now. So when we meet that, we have been grant writing. We have been receiving great community support, like Old National Bank coming in and donating and helping us get some of these projects done. And I do want to say, quick shout out to our union trades and other businesses in Joliet who come in. We have 6 new bathrooms in that building that never had bathrooms on those floors, and they donated labor, material, and everything to make that happen. So that's, people are jumping onto that vision. It's a crazy thing, even to be here with you right now. This is just an idea that I had. And now I think the key to making this happen is finding people that share that same passion and help to drive it forward.
Hi, as a musician as well, and I am at Harold Washington College. We have also a studio recording and music business and music tech. And one of the major things usually is just to keep things going on. So how are you planning to continue if this opens finally? How are you going to continue, the funding and support to keep that updated, etc.?
Very good question. Part of that is our programming. What do we do on a monthly basis? Certain months we do certain events. We've got already planned into 2023, of course, our Hall of Fame that's going to be in September, a very big fundraiser for us every year. We have a Women Who Rock in the month of March. We have blues in February for African American month. And yeah, there's lots of other, and sorry? And the car shows. We have car shows, believe it or not, right downtown Joliet. We're trying to get people to come downtown Joliet. So once a month we have a car show. We invite the public out. You get to see the cars. You get to hear a band. You get to hear, it's camaraderie. It's getting people out. Somebody had mentioned it earlier. We live in a really crazy world right now. People don't like each other because race, religion, politics, whatever it is. Music is that one thing that we can all agree on. We may not agree on what music we listen to, but music in itself is one thing that can help bring us all together.
Well, it turns out you do have a house music fan in the room. And I was wondering, as you were giving your presentation, if you do have an exhibit on house music or featured artists.
Yeah, we've been working with Joe Shanahan on that. If you've ever been to Smart Bar, that's a place that lots of people have played over the years. So a couple weeks ago, I shot something with he and another curator that he has on that about house music. It's Metro's 40th anniversary this year. So we're going back through the archives of everything and trying to get interviews with as many people as we can. Lou Hinkhouse, who's one of the board of directors that I used to work with at Fox, is a producer that is amazing. He has, I think, 15,000 albums in his house. His wife is Stacey Robinson, who's Robin Robinson's sister, and she's also a documentary producer at PBS. I've worked with her before too. They're collecting all of that, so we're archiving as much as we can, and that's one of those exhibits that'll be part of what we have, because that started here in Chicago, and it's pretty significant.
All right, guys, we're running behind a little bit on our schedule, but in order to catch up, my goofball friend over here has a goofball question, and then I'm going to take over there.
So in 1973, Styx played for my sister's high school graduation. So we're just wondering, do you have an idea of what songs they may have played at that high school graduation?
Let me tell you something. We got a chance to interview Dennis DeYoung, and we got to talk a little bit about his history in music. He probably mentioned playing at that high school, because he told me that when they first started, they were playing as a wedding band. They were playing whatever gigs they could get. When they started out, it was TWO was the name of the band, and it was the two Panazzo brothers and him playing accordion. That was the main instrument back then. And he told me about the evolution of the band and how they changed. And I asked him, like, what kind of songs we were playing? He goes, name any standard song you heard at a wedding. I know it. He's played it before. So it's hard to envision. And we mentioned Rockin' the Paradise. The story behind that was he was in Orland Park at the mall, and they had a company called Picture This. In there was a picture of the Rialto that was kind of dilapidated, falling down, and they were going to try to resurrect it, and that was a big thing. And he thought that was the Paradise. He was just walking through the mall and came up with that. And it's a great big hit for them. So, they're real guys, but what an inspiration, really, for me, especially as a musician.
There's someone that we talked to earlier that grew up in Orland Park, sitting over here. We were talking about Kevin Cronin. We mentioned that. Accordion has played a role in his life too. He was an 11-year-old kid who was trying to learn how to play guitar, and he had a friend that was doing an accordion recital, and he says, hey, come over to my accordion recital. So he went over there, and then afterwards a rock band played. A bunch of 16, 17-year-old kids. Well, Gary Loizo happened to be one of the guys in that rock band. Kevin went up to him afterwards as an 11-year-old kid and said, hey, I'm learning to play guitar. And he said, hey, keep doing it, you can do it. Well, Gary had a studio in his garage, so they'd come over and he gave him lessons and inspired him. So that inspiration for Kevin Cronin started as an 11-year-old kid with someone that took the time to show him this is how this works and this is what you can do. So you can see your future, you can see the possibilities through that. That's what we're trying to create with all those stories.
Let me just add one part to that story too. Our very first Hall of Fame, we're downstairs at the Rialto. There's only 4 of us downstairs. One of them is sitting in this room with us right now. I'm watching Kevin Cronin, the lead singer of REO, talk to Jim Peterick, who is the lead singer from Ides of March and also from the band Survivor. And Kevin is kind of geeking out. He's talking to Jim. Jim, you're not going to believe this. I used to come see you guys when you played this. You really inspired me. And I'm sitting in this room with Lisa over here, who's taking the photos, very nice photos, by the way, thinking to myself, these are two of my biggest heroes, and they're looking at each other and how they inspired each other. That's how music works, you know? So thank you for the picture, Lisa.
All right, gentlemen, we have a tradition here, but I'm going to shortchange you. The tradition is that we have a little thank you gift, and originally I had two of the world's finest Rotary cups. However, there were four of you, so I before this falls, I will give the first two cups to the ladies. I will warn you, once you have your morning coffee or tea, the next morning you'll be the final members of Rotary. Yeah, I know that there is a fourth cup on the way, but let me start here. Thank you for being here. It was quite inspirational, really appreciate it. You can tell by the audience and the questions that people are engaged, and thank you for being here. Before we move on to our induction, Colette, you can join me here. A few weeks ago, when Colette was not present, unanimously he was nominated our holiday party planner. Of course, the memo hasn't reached him, but now it has. I've already colluded with our friends here. They are willing to provide the musical entertainment for us at our December, this is soon, holiday party. So
Which year?
this year.
This year?
This year.
Okay.
And you're in charge. There was a bit of a contest whether you are the bigger party animal or me, but our friends chose you. I was quite offended. You're in charge. Anyway.
You sure you don't want Marshall to do this?
No, Marshall and I will do we're on the gourmet side. That's fine. Anyway, induction, please.
Okay.
We'll step aside.
Paris, want to join me up here? I believe I have some stuff to read to you. So for those of you who's not aware of or not familiar with the process we do here, Paris is the last one to bite the dust, and he is the new member of the Rotary One. And the process as we go through and sort of kind of formality to do this. For those of you in the room that are members or online also, that members, thank you for being here. For not members, if you're interested, we send you a warm welcome to come into Rotary One today. And we invite you to get to know a little bit more about Rotary by talking to someone next to you about Rotary. Talk to Tamara and her teams outside. This is a plug-in, and I hope you don't mind me doing this. But for those online that cannot be here to talk to any Rotarian, where's the camera here?
Look that way.
Get to your nearest local bar and you'll find a Rotarian there and talk to them about that. Paris, Tikanis, ready?
You're ready.
All right. It is my great pleasure on behalf of the Board of Directors and members of the Rotary Club of Chicago to welcome each of you, to welcome Paris as a member of Rotary One. We welcome you not only for the fine fellowship that we shall share, but also for your talent, ability, and enthusiasm that would help us to carry our many projects to make our community, our country, and the world a better place which we live. Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and election of good men and women to public office. Rotary is not a charitable organization, yet its activity amplify the charity and the sacrifices that one should expect from people who believe that they have the opportunity to help others, as yourself. Rotary is not a religious organization, but it's built on those eternal principles that have served as the moral compass of the people throughout the ages. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to uphold the highest professional standard. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and international peace can be achieved when business people unite under the banner of service. Paris, you have been chosen by the member of the Rotary, been chosen for membership in the Rotary Club of Chicago because your fellow Rotarians believe you to be a leader in your profession, and because you manifest the intelligence and the commitment and heart that fit you to interpret and impart the message of Rotary. You are a representative of your profession to this club, and any information or an education value pertaining to that professionalism must naturally come to us through you. At the same time, you become an ambassador from us to your profession, and we rely on you to carry the principle and ideal of service, which we here inspire to those who share our professional activities. The community will know and judge Rotary by your embodiment of its character and service. And we accept you as a member because we know our principles and organization will be safe in your keeping. We also expect you to give us the inspiration that will help us to become better Rotarian. And it is with this hope that I ask Timo Ripak, the president of Rotary Club, to pin you with the distinguished Rotary One pen.
You've got the pen somewhere. Is it?
That's it.
All right. Shall I hurt him? No. Very carefully here.
So up until the 80s, the Rotary Club of Chicago owned the pen of a particular pen until the Rotary, congratulations, Paris.
Thank you so much.
And if I may, I know a wise man once says, never give the microphone to a past president. Remember that, Wes? If I just may speak a little bit about the pen you have, it is a distinguished pen. There's 35,000 clubs worldwide, over 220 countries, including Egypt, but none of them have such a pen except the Rotary One. Congratulations. Carry it ready with the pride. All right.
Colette, I appreciate your brevity. That's not normal, so thank you for that. We are now welcoming our guests, and Betsy, we're now welcoming our guests, and I would like to start with our international guests here in the room. If you want to stand for a second, tell you where you're from, what brought you here. But didn't we have an international guest number? We have one right here. That's what I said. Any international guests, please stand up. Where are you from? What brought you here? Just speak loudly.
Okay. My name is Uku. I'm from Estonia, living in France, and I'm doing an exchange here at Notre Dame.
Thank you.
But prior to that, I had the good fortune of being funded for a year of studying by Rotarians in Atlanta, and really wanted to go to Rotary Club again. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Wasila Taha from Cairo, from Egypt. I'm a Rotarian since 2017, and currently I'm the president of the Rotary Cairo Nile Valley Club. I have been here once before, where Khalid was the president.
And you came back, despite.
I came back. And since then, we have a very good bonds with the Rotary One. It's where Rotary begins, actually, Chicago Rotary One. And I would say that Egypt also, it's where it all begins. I'm really excited and very delighted to be among you today, and thank you so much for having me. And I have some little chocolates from pharaonic time.
I've got something for you guys as well. We will take the picture in a second. Thank you very much.
This is for you, for the, I wish I had for everyone, but
I know who the chocolate fans are around here, so let's not fight over this.
Who are the fans?
There's some in the back there. Marshall is a big one.
Marshall.
You won't tell because he's a runner. He burns it all off. But no, you're good. Thank you for joining us. That's great.
It's a true honor, and I wish really to go forward with our fellowship and our twinship. Really, we are twin club since 2018. We wish Timo, this is for you. It's a papyrus.
You heard what she said. It's from me.
Yeah,
not for you.
No, but there is another one for Khalid.
No. We are in the process of signing our agreement with the Rotary, with the Union League Club, and this is going to go into the Rotary room. So.
Okay, perfect. Khalid, this is for you.
Thank you.
Timo.
I'm not the president.
Thank you. We'll take the pictures in just a second.
And we have the flag if you will.
We'll do that in just a second after we conclude here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any international Rotarians on Zoom? Speak up now, please. One.
Yes, thank you very much, Timo. Yes, this is Eric from Uganda, District 2913. I'm a Rotary actor, and this is my second time actually fellowship meeting with you people. It's my second time, and I'm the current secretary to my Rotary club, and it's always a pleasure to be here and to always fellowship with you people. Thank you.
Thank you for joining again. I appreciate you being here. Hopefully one day in person. All right, visiting U.S. Rotarians. Yes, sir.
My name is Harvey Newcomb. I'm with the Rotary Club of Evanston Lighthouse. I work in fund development for Rotary Foundation. Your club member, Margaret Hugo, her husband is my boss.
We will not hold that against you. Anybody online, U.S.? I'm sorry.
My name is Maricela Juarez, and this is my second time visiting Lemoine. Every time my daughter is in law school, every time that she's doing finals, I come and support her. So that's it. And I'm the president of the San Diego Downtown Evening Rotary.
Wonderful. Thanks for being here. And good luck with the finals. Any U.S. Rotarians online? All right. Guests in this room. No, actually, let's do the other way around. Guests online. Anybody there? They are. Who do we have online as guests? All right, guests in the room. I have my own guests, so let's start with guests other than mine. Any guests? Connor is kind of a guest. He's gonna pay double. All right. Anyway, but I have guests. And those are my younger colleagues, and I'm very happy that they chose to be here today. Name, position, and then you get a T-shirt.
Name, Josh Dennison, position, associate.
Wonderful. Pass it on. Go, Cody.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cody Von Ruden, and I am associate as well. Oh, sorry.
I didn't even do that. That's all right.
You're good. Hi, I'm Alexis. I am also an associate at Barnes.
Hi, I'm Nadine. I work with Timo and do business development.
You know what? She puts up with me. All right. And we have a guest here as well. Wonderful.
Yes, indeed. I'm Tom Carey from Joliet, Illinois. I had a great opportunity yesterday to join Ron and tour that for the first time. I practiced law for 41 years in the city. I was very active with Bob and community organizations. I'm very impressed with this club, and thanks for having me as a guest. And thank you, Harvey.
Hi, I'm Tim McGuire. I'm the president of National Merit Scholarship Corporation. I'm in Evanston. In fact, we're housed in the Rotary headquarters building right at Sherman and Grove in Evanston. Harvey and I have been friends for, well, the 31 years I've been with National Merit. Thank you for having me again, Harvey. And I have to say, what an impressive undertaking. I mean, this is going to be an exciting thing for the whole state of Illinois. I actually met Randy at a concert with Harvey about 4 weeks ago, and we were at Space in Evanston. So it's nice to see you again in your professional capacity. So thanks again.
Well, thank you guys for joining today.